So without any vote in Congress, the Biden administration has just introduced a rule, not a law, a rule that will punish Americans who've tried to do the right thing, punish people with high credit scores. The people with high credit scores will pay higher fees on their mortgage payments to subsidize people who haven't maintained good credit. So these rules take effect on May 1st, whether you like it or not. And they mean that anyone with good credit, that's defined as a score of 680 or above, is going to have to pay roughly $40 a month extra on their mortgage fees than those with lower scores on home loans of around $400,000. So here's an example. If you have a FICO score of 620, you get a 1.75% discount on your mortgage fees. If you have a 740 score, in other words, you pay your bills on time, you've done the right thing, you're a good citizen, you have to pay 1% more. So you don't get a discount for doing the right thing and paying your bills, you get punished. We are incentivizing bad behavior. We're hurting the good people. Since the day you were born, you have been told, pay your debts. It's not your money. You borrowed it from somebody else. You have to pay it back. If you don't, it's stealing. Now we're saying, if you don't steal, we're going to hurt you. And in real life, that means that over the course of a 30-year mortgage for a $400,000 home, that's a swing of more than $14,000. And they're claiming racism to justify this. Black Americans are the only racial group in this country with average credit scores of under 680. Now, why is that? We don't know. Whites, Hispanics, Asians have higher credit scores. Therefore, as you'd expect, the mortgage denial rate for African-American borrowers is higher than the overall population. It's double in this country's biggest markets. And that's the reason the suburbs have different demographics from the cities. That's called economics. Now, if you wanted to change that, you would encourage people to have good spending habits and pay back their debt. But they don't care about that. Making people happier or getting them out of debt? No, they want to change the suburbs, make them denser, so there'll be more reliably democratic voting. That's the bottom line. It's always about election results. It's always about power. It's not about improving anybody's life. Meanwhile, the Democratic Party's donors in private equity, of course, are happy that it'll be even harder for Americans with good credit to buy homes. Why? Because that will mean more renters of homes they own.
The changes in the home ownership premium are driven by home prices and mortgage rates.
Usually the cost to be an owner are a couple $100s a month higher. And especially if you start throwing in maintenance and other things, it's even higher than that.
Lots of potential buyers may be waiting for a wider correction in the housing market.
Over the last 40 years, the housing cost for the typical home in America compared to the income of the typical home buyer has been running 29 to 30%, whether you look at the median or the average. It has blown out to 42% right now. We have a pretty significant home price decline forecast coming.
I've seen anything from really not falling at all this year to dropping back 10, 15%. Now, the thing that is different this time around than during the Great Recession is that supply and demand issue. There's still not enough supply, and that's going to keep prices inflated.
Some experts believe the best way out of this problem is not to limit corporate landlords, but rather to do whatever it takes to build more housing.
Some of these big REITs, these landlords, are actually building homes. They're adding to the supply that we desperately need.
Experts believe this trend could help, but it needs far more time to prove its value.
We can only find 909 actively selling build-to-rent communities, about 10% of the rental home construction in the country right now. But 26% of renters rent a single-family home, so it's not even keeping up with the pace of rental demand for single-family versus apartments.
There are some bills in Congress which want to limit the amount of homes that investors can own, and they're unlikely to get through because they're pretty drastic. They're telling investors that they're going to have to only be able to own, in one sense, 100 homes, or they're going to have to pay significant taxes on the others. Now, these institutional investors own thousands of homes.
In a statement, Blackstone told CNBC that every home they own could go to a resident who hopes to buy the home later.
I mean, we think, frankly, that they just own too many, particularly in terms of the single-family home industry. I think there are ways, such as implementing additional taxes on them, that would either generate money for affordable housing or encourage them to sell off from their portfolio. We do support rent control, just cause eviction, different conditions in terms of to ensure the habitability of a property.
Hi folks, it's Tisha Paul, and it's so good to see you. Do us a favor, please hit that free like and that free subscribe button. All right, so you saw the Tucker Carlson special on Fox. Well, it's not so special, but we took a part of Tucker Carlson segment on Fox, and we took a part of the CNBC segment, and we put it together. Why we do that? Because it tells the news that we want to talk about today, which is housing. Because people are saying to us, why is housing so expensive? And Tucker Carlson, a conservative, and CNBC, a liberal, they both put together the same kind of stuff that we've been talking about. Wall Street, big corporations in America bought up big government and create this pandemic issue of housing that's so expensive to buy. I call it a housing pandemic because that's what it was. It was affordable till 2020. Now it's unaffordable. So now I tell people, get rid of the idea of getting a house in your head. Accept a townhouse. I live in a townhouse. It's 1,700 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I have a family of 4, 2 kids, a husband and wife. That's fine. You don't need a single family home anymore to call it the American dream. A townhome is nice, it's fun, and it's $250,000 for the average townhome in the United States. So 3 things I want you to take from this. There are 4,800 banks in the United States. 1 must be able to approve you for a mortgage. Number 2, if you're in the United States, you can do first-time home buying, which is 3.5% down, or you could do 5%, which is a conventional loan, plus closing costs, which is 6%. But if the property is appraising for a lot more than $250,000, you can, if your lender, the lender must allow it, you can finance your closing costs. That's what I did when I was 19 or 22 and 22. So I'm just telling you how to do it. So you need a little $12,500 for 5%, and your income needs to be minimum $50,000. So 2 people, if your husband make 25, you make 25, that's $50,000. You can buy a townhome. The average townhome is 1,300 square foot, 3-bedroom townhome, 2-bath. It goes up and down. It's really pretty. I love living in townhomes. I have no problem. I'm a former realtor in Florida, former realtor in Utah, and I've lived in townhomes most of my life. I've barely owned single family homes in America because it's very expensive in America and Canada and Europe to buy single family homes. So I've always noticed that it's kind of better I don't like the condo life, but townhomes are nice. They're 2-story and they're attached, but they're big, 1,300, 1,700, and you get 3-bedroom, 2-bath. So I'll just tell you, call your lender. You're going to need 2 years of tax return. You're going to need 3 months of bank statements as well. So you're going to need a pre-approval letter from your lender. 4,800 lenders in the United States. Somebody will give you a pre-approval to get a mortgage. Go for a townhome. Stop with the single family home. Wall Street bought up most of the single family homes, which are now $450,000 anyway. A townhome is $250,000. It's still the American dream. It's just a townhome. And I'm raising my family in a townhome. I don't see anything wrong with it. I've lived in a townhome most of my life. I guess I live downtown, and that's the thing. When you live downtown area, most of us live in townhomes there. So if you're in a city life, you live in a townhome. And I'm saying urban life, it's okay to live in a townhome. You're going to need to get the lender to give you a pre-approval. So apply for a mortgage. Google just got mortgage application. You must get one before they will show you, before a realtor will show you the property, because they want to know that you've got the cash. And so you need a pre-approval letter. The lender will ask you for 5% down, which is standard for first-time home buying. The lender is going to pull your credit. So make sure you work on your credit. And then the lender is going to ask you for 3 months of bank statements and 2 years of tax return. What if you had 2 different jobs? If it's in the same line of job, it's okay. What if it's your first year working? Show the lender that you plan on working more years. What if you're self-employed? Still go ahead and apply. The lender has a special program for self-employed. So there's a program for everybody out there. What if you are a YouTuber? Go ahead, let the lender know you're a YouTuber. You can get a loan. You just need to show income. So that's what the lenders are looking for, income. Do you cash flow? If you do, is it $50,000? That's the amount you need. And what's your debt to ratio? So go ahead, and you might have some explanation to do to the lender, but don't be afraid. I know saying no, I hate when the lender says no, but maybe a lender will say yes. But it's not it's not negative stuff against you. It's just not your time. keep trying. You'll be able to buy a home. I'm Tisha Paul. Go ahead and hit that free like and that free subscribe button. And yes, Wall Street did purchase a lot of homes in the United States. And now it's time for us as people to go ahead and purchase the townhomes. And as Tucker Carlson had said, with big government, we are paying a little more for homes with good credit. But those whose credit is under 680, they're still not paying as much. But you know, the good have to suffer for the bad, and the government think this is in the best interest of the community. So we just have to respect, you know, nature said, nature is an act of God. We respect and we honor those in authority. I'm Tisha Paul. Thank you so much for watching. Be